From Beaver, and good morning. Thanks for coming in today.
Good morning, Frank. Thank you for having me.
So there's been a huge topic, and we had your opponent in the primary tomorrow. I guess tomorrow's already primary, huh?
For sure. Yeah.
So we had Lincoln Kretschmeyer on Friday to talk about his candidacy, and we wanted to get some answers from your side as well. So first, what we're going to ask you is, you've been mayor. How long have you been mayor of Beaver?
Coming 21 years now.
Okay. All right. So what makes you continue to want to be mayor of Beaver and run again?
Well, obviously, I love our town. I like Beaver. I'm born and raised in Beaver. Went to high school in Beaver, went over to Penn State after, and then graduated from the University of Pittsburgh and remained here my entire life.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the issues. And one of the ones that's coming up is one side is saying there's a tax increase, and that's something they're opposed to. As the incumbents, what is the situation with the Beaver budget?
Well, there's a lot of misconceptions. What is true is there was a tax increase, and it was done, believe me, with a lot of wringing of hands and not done in a light way. Right. Unfortunately, over the years, we were using the reserves we had for a significant time to balance the budget, as well as some revenue that came in through contracts with the police contract. But at the end of the day, last year we ran into a unanticipated landslide, which cost over $350,000, which depleted the rest of the reserves. So now we're in a position that we have to raise taxes to start rebuilding our reserves like we used to have. And it's unfortunate to do that. If in hindsight, it would have been better to raise the taxes more often, a little at a time. But there was not a lot of support to do that because nobody wants to raise their taxes. But we did go through a long period. I believe in 20 years, raised the taxes 9 times. One time decreased the taxes a million. So it's like everything else. Inflation's caught up to us, and we should have probably raised it before this. But now I think we're on the right track. We're going to put money away. Town's in good condition, solvency, and so forth.
So the figure that they're throwing out there, and I just want to throw it out there so that see if it's accurate or not. They're saying 56% tax increase for this year and a 9% last year. So in the last 2 years, 65%. Is that accurate?
Well, it's a little bit confusing because of the reassessment caused. There was a period of time that we raised taxes before that, and then there was a period of time we couldn't raise taxes. So if you just look at a snapshot, it looks like we raised it in that short period of time. But realistically, you have to look at the whole time period.
Okay, and then they say that. But one of the other ones is that the Borough was $1 million over budget last year. Is that true?
Well, that's completely untrue, and unfortunately, that's been being out in social media and all over town, and it's misleading. It's part of the budgeting process. We did get. There's a couple things that key into that. We got a $450,000 grant from the federal government. I guess it's ARP money, and that money was not an initial budget because it was presented to us later in the year. But when you get that grant money, it goes into the budget and comes out as an expense. So in other words, $450,000 from the federal government showed as a $450,000 expense.
Right.
That's just part of the budget process, which we do have a financial consultant that we use, and that's proper budgeting to show that. Now, and on top of that, there was a $280,000 paving project that was deferred from the previous year because Columbia Gas was driving the project, and their schedule didn't complete in time for us to complete the paving in the prior year. So it was already budgeted for, but it was shown in the 2024 budget as an expense that was previously budgeted. So that's another one that was in there that skews the numbers. If you add those two together, you got a significant number out of that million. And then on top, the other piece of that, there was some overtime, unexpected overtime with the police department. And that was due to a staffing shortage and a shortage of part-time police officers, which is a systemic problem throughout the Pennsylvania, and all communities are having that. All the part-time police officers kind of dried up. So when they're not available, in order to keep the staffing, we had to have extra overtime with the full-time employees. We have addressed that by hiring a new police officer this year and able to adjust the schedule to reduce overtime. And so far, it's paying dividends, the cost of the overtime, keeping it down. But that's the how that can be shown as that was a legitimate overtime overage. But if you add all those together, it comes close to a million. But it's not. $450,000 for a federal grant is not a negative thing when you put it in your budget. It just shows it as well as a deferred expense that was budgeted the previous year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think we all, no matter what industry you're in at this point, we all face shortages, and
sure.
So it makes sense that you're over budget because it has to do with overtime. I mean, that's just natural.
Absolutely, yeah. And we had to keep the staffing to keep the town safe.
One of the lightning rod issues in Beaver has been the pool. It's been replaced by the pool house concert stage, but there are some people who still think Beaver needs a pool, and you know, I don't know how it would be funded for that, but you know, your administration, if reelected, what would you do, if anything, or would you focus more on the banquet hall and concert venue that's there right now?
Well, I think that that's a good question. There's some misconceptions on that also. Well, first thing I want to clear up, the pool was nearly 100 years old, and I was the last one in this area that wanted to close the pool down. But then when we had engineers look at it, and they showed us in person, you could stick a screwdriver through the sidewall, which was out of the ground. We were told that if we possibly opened that pool, it would be could be a catastrophic implosion and possibly kill somebody. Mm-hmm. The question was not that the pool was never maintained. It was like 80, 90 years old, and it just you can't keep concrete from deteriorating. That being said, we supported a pool replacement, but when we looked into the cost of the pool, that was several years ago. It was upwards of $6 million and more. And with looking at our finances, our financial expert told us that we couldn't possibly afford to pay that much to build a pool to replace the one that originally was built by federal WPA funds in the 1930s. So we made the conscious decision that we couldn't afford to put that burden on, even though we wanted to. But we also worked with a community group to come up with private funding. We sanctioned them to try to raise funds through whatever means, grants, corporate grants, so forth, and individual grants, to raise money for a new pool, because and we realize that's an uphill battle, but we did support them. We helped pay engineering designs for conceptuals and so forth to get this started. Now, with that being said, much discussion, we had to tear the pool out. We weren't even allowed to just keep it left the way it was, because the insurance carrier said that we would be exposed to liability. So we made the conscious decision after much discussion. We had that existing building, the iconic building that it is. We either tear it down, fix it up, or just let it sit there and deteriorate. So we got a lot of a lot of support from people in the community. We had much discussion. It wasn't done in a vacuum, believe me. We had much discussion. We didn't have initially enough money to start, but we got a grant from, there was another grant came through, 450. Well, that was the same one that went through that I talked about earlier. Right. That was $450,000. Now, just so everybody can understand, there was a lot of strings on that. It had to be for recreational, and it had to be for a project that was identified and could be started. And there was deadlines to spend that money, or you would lose it. If you didn't spend it properly, you could have to pay it back. So all that stuff is. I know this is controversial, but all that stuff we have to go through the solicitor and make sure we do everything correct, because the borough can be put in a position of liability if you don't. So being that we had that $450,000, we used a lot of the borough workers, not on overtime, but during the fall months to do the demolition, and we decided to we did it something out of the box, so to speak. We didn't put a big bid package out and send a general contractor. We could have never afforded that. It would have been millions. So we did the $450. We reconfigured a loan. We had a $450,000 loan. We reconfigured that, and we were able to. We were going to do as much as we could and then stop until we get more funding. But with the help of Larry Redinger and community support, and we came up here, I don't know if you recall.
Yeah.
We put it all together. It was very creative, and it's a very positive thing in the community. We've had so many people support it. It was one of the things that was identified in a long range planning commission years ago, that the town wanted a community center. Well, we do have a lot of nice things with the train center and the museum, but that's run by the Beaver Heritage Foundation, and it's not a borough facility. This is not to compete with that, but it's to be an alternative place for residents.
Well, I'm glad you clarified the $450,000, because one of the accusations out there is that you used the $450,000 for the pool house instead of fixing the landslide, which obviously you just explained you couldn't do that.
We couldn't do that. It wasn't it wouldn't have been appropriate by the rules. Mm-hmm. The landslide is a whole different matter. It did not start out as a landslide. There was one of the trains went by and said they didn't like the way the culvert went underneath the tracks. So we did have some other ARP money that we used to do some engineering to figure out what was the solution to that. Several years went by, and then there was a landslide that became emergency. The landslide was up above the track, not down where the culvert was. So there's two different developments there. So when that happened, we did not have that budgeted. That's a fact. We did not expect what happened. We had to act on it. It was creeping up to River Road, and it was possible maybe the road could have collapsed. So we did turn around. Once that happened, we got that done through and repaired, and the road's open.
Okay, as far as amenities for Beaver, if reelected, is there anything you would add, like parks-wise or recreation-wise, or just downtown business-wise? You know, what new things might happen in Beaver if you're back in office? Well,
I think we all, we appreciate, we do have a lot of amenities, but obviously we could have more, and money's an issue all the way around. The parks, we've been working on them for some time to make sure that we have safe equipment for the kids. And as far as the Gypsy Glen, where the pool house is, they are working to collect money, and hopefully they might have enough funds in the future to build a pool. Whatever the pool house work that we have done is conducive to whatever the plans that they would come up with. If for some reason they fall short on their funding, well, the borough has also agreed to run a pool if they get one built. If the funds fall short and the pool can't be built, I'm sure something else will go in there. I'd love to see a splash pad, something for the kids.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
There's no reason why we can't do something maybe on a smaller, limited scale. But I think everybody's on the same page not to put the borough at any more risk with funds.
We've seen the success of splash pads in like Chippewa Township and Ambridge, and it's a less expense,
Absolutely.
but it gives the kids something to do. And
We have a beautiful park down there, and maybe some people don't realize that park was donated by the Pew Foundation, and part of the covenants is that it has to remain as a public use. If we were to sell or commercialize it, that money would have to go back to the Pew Foundation, and we would lose control. And there's a current member on council that was there's some ideas, and it's not the right way to go.
So another issue that has been brought up that we talked about was the downtown corridor of Beaver and the fact of the lighting maybe not being the best at night, and there being a lot of incidents where possibly pedestrians are being hit, and improving that. So is there something on the docket for that, or?
Well, there's always, to answer your question, there's always something. We're always looking to improve what we have. The lighting is decorative lighting, and it was designed that way to be part of the town effect. Some of those crossing accidents, again, they're happening all communities all over. They're not necessarily related to the way our downtown streets is built. Some of the accidents that have been mentioned were not necessarily caused by that. In fact, we meet with PennDOT, and the number one issue is driver distraction, texting and phone, and so forth. So it's easy to make those accusations, but as far as a quick fix, if there was one, we would do it. We do meet with PennDOT. There's certain limitations. It is a state road, and there's certain things they allow us to do, and again, we have to follow the regulations.
It's almost like that big crosswalk that's in the middle of town, like you need train arms to come down, because I watch all the time. People are standing in the crosswalk, driving through there every day, and it's like, and they just don't stop, and it's like, do you not see that person in the
one
crosswalk?
by the Starbucks, yeah.
Well, we are very fortunate. We do have a busy, as you know, busy town. You go down there any day of the week at night until night. It's all parked up, and people with dogs and baby strollers and bicycles.
You'd be shocked how many at 4:30 in the morning when I'm coming to work, I see running there, walking their dogs, running, and it's like, I can't believe this many people are out at this time of the morning.
Getting their coffee.
Yeah, right.
It leads to be that we have a safe, walkable community, and that's what I'm strongly adamant about us keeping it that way.
It's a beautiful downtown area. So what are some of the things that you have planned on the docket if you're reelected mayor that you want to see continue in Beaver, some of the programs maybe, or something new you're looking towards?
Well, I think we want to keep up. Obviously, there's nobody says everything's good not to move forward. We need to look forward, continue with technology. We have cameras. We have a well-trained police department that I'm proud of our police officers, the specialties that they do. I think maintain that kind of stuff, encourage them to get involved in the community. Obviously, the playgrounds, we got to keep up with that, make sure last thing we want to do is, like some communities, just put yellow caution tape up and say you can't play there anymore because it's dangerous. So there's things we have to do, continue that, to find more things like that, maybe some options down along the riverfront. But I think the others keep the community clean and not decayed like some communities. And that's an effort that's important to keep our downtown vibrant. Mm-hmm. I'm proud of the fact that we have a high vibrancy, and that's a calculated number that comes from Mark Peluso's Town Center group, and we do have a high vibrancy rate, and I think that's something we need. We can't just sit back and say we're happy, because if you do that, you're doomed for failure. But we have to keep it that way, and there's a lot that goes into that.
Well, I think you have that park that they just street. I don't know what street it's on. The kids' park that you just the playground area. It's on, what's that? I can't remember that. It's off of Sharon Road. Then you hang right there.
Oh, that's Bouquet Park.
Yeah. Okay. So that one there, that's beautiful. That one was just redone, and that's beautiful.
That was, and there's an example of some creative work with the staff at in fact, Rebecca I gave her credit for initially we looked at grants. Everybody says get grants, which grants are fine, but our initial thing when we looked into the grants, it was going to the matching grants. It was going to be well over $1 million, and then attached with those grants, you got to do all the different things that they tell you, all the engineers, architects. She was we wound up she found a play set that was someone didn't buy that was left over at the end of the year. We purchased it. The Borough crews put it in. It was done for significantly less.
Cool.
So it's
I know we live in New Brighton, and my wife takes my daughter over there to play there because she likes that.
Oh, it's a great place.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
The Borough crews there again. They did the work on regular time, and there's a lot of work can get done with collaboration like that.
All right. Anything else that you want to add? For your candidacy or anything moving forward? Or
no, I just I'd like to say I'm disappointed this time we have a slate of candidates that are been recruited to run as an agenda for an incumbent council person that can't get anything that their ideas through, apparently. So they've gone out. Her name is Miss McKean, and she's been unsuccessful in 7 years to do some of the ideas. She's been more than recently been pushing the regional police for us to disband our police and the police contracts with industry in Vanport. And some of the people she's recruited are of some same idea, eliminating the SROs in the school district, and I think that would really turn the direction of the town we have in. And we've never had a slate of candidates try to do something to specifically alter the course of the community. And my concern is that's what they want to do. The things they're saying with transparency and poor decisions, to me, are mismanagement or political comments that is disappointing in our town. We've always had people collaborate from different walks of life, different talents, different parties, and the group that's running now, three of the group have changed parties because apparently they feel that they're better off running as a Republican to strengthen their cause, and two of them are new residents of town. One less than 1 year here with no ties to the area, and I think it's important. We have a group of incumbents and people running for election with ties to the community that will work together. In the first ward, we have Justin Ankrum, along with Jared Thomas. And in the second ward, we have local businessmen Bob Bickerton and Phil O'Shaughnessy, a retired person that's interested and involved in giving back to the community with the Fort Mac group. And then on the third ward, we have Dr. Roberta Good, a retired educator that's on more boards than I can recite, but primarily the Heritage Association, the AUW, and the Merrick Art Gallery. And then Whitley Learn Konjeski, which is an educator also from the cyber school. But we have a lot of good people that want to do things for the right reason. The town's never run on a group of people with an agenda to do a certain and vote in the same way. We've always had independent people. That doesn't mean we all agree. We have good, constructive discussions, open discussions. We're very transparent, and I like to continue with that, and I hope the voters see that they like what the way the town, why not, what's not to like about our community? People want to live here. The homes sell like hotcakes. They get into bidding wars. Our house values are up. People move here for a number one reason of safety, and my concern is they can turn this upside down, especially if they cut the police department or outsource it to across the river. Not that there's anything wrong. They've got a good thing going over there with that Beaver regional police that was needed. They didn't have enough full-time policemen, and they put together a good organization. It's not the right fit for us, and I'm afraid if they get everybody they want to get elected, that's what they would pursue.
The final minute or so we have, I just want to say in equal time, we praised your opponent's business when we interviewed him. I want to praise you, Mayor, as someone who lived in Beaver for a long time, your accessibility, whether it's Garrison Day, whether it's the car cruise, whether it's the winter, the Light Up Night Festival. I always see you walking around. How many times have I come up and said hello and shaking your hand? So I do appreciate that you seem very much tapped into the community.
Well, thanks for saying it. It's not just me; it's everybody. The chief, the manager, the staff. We're all accessible. There's no secrecy. They have everybody gets my number, can call me anytime, my cell phone number, and the chief is like that also. We're approachable. It's unfortunate that someone would say that we're not, but thanks for saying that.
All right, so in our last minute here, we'll leave the floor open to you. Why reelect you as mayor of Beaver?
Well, I'd like to continue working and collaborating with people, working not just with the council. We have, and I failed to mention, we're very fortunate in town. We have a lot of commissions, tree commission, and all these other things. The planning commission and zoning and ordinance and so forth. But we have a lot of talented people, and we work with them together, and you get a lot more done working as a group than you do working against everything. So my plan would be to continue to make Beaver a safe place, number one. It's a community that people would want to live there. I attended the Touch a Truck yesterday, and I was amazed at the number of children that are coming into town. And my thoughts are to keep our streets clean, keep them safe, improve where we can, and watch the finances. There's no doubt about it. Everybody's got own homes. It's a tough pill to take to pay higher taxes, but unfortunately, good services cost money, and I'm not suggesting that we eliminate services, and that's about we talk about that. Zero-based budgeting would start with zero. Well, we look at the budget in years. Do we eliminate spring cleanup? Do we eliminate street sweeping? The leaf pickup? Some people suggested leaf. Those are the type of things that people want to move to our town, and I argue against that. I think we have to provide this, and I would like to see us continue that.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming in today. Good luck tomorrow. Tomorrow is the primary election already here in Pennsylvania, and number one thing for anybody, we talk about Beaver here, but the number one thing is everybody needs to get out and vote tomorrow.
That's exactly right. I'm concerned it might be a low voter turnout. That's what everybody says, but Frank, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's not a whole lot. I mean, and people don't get it. Like you see all this turnout for like presidential elections and those, but then they don't understand that your community is your main priority. So you need to get out and vote tomorrow, because I know there's a lot of towns that mayors are up for election tomorrow for re-election.
School boards
and things like that. So tomorrow's an important day.
Where the rubber meets the ground is like your car.
Amen. There you go. So, all right. Well, thanks and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Good luck.
Commercial.
Yep.
Drivers, start your engine.
The NTT IndyCar Series is back on track at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500.
He's got it out of the short chute. Newgarden by 3 car lengths.
Pato O'Ward makes a run, but he will not catch it. Joseph Newgarden goes back. Now, stay tuned for the greatest spectacle in racing. Live Sunday, May 25th on this Indianapolis Motor Speedway Radio Network station.
Tune in to Good Talk with Matthew Modani every fourth Friday of the month from 11 a.m. to noon for an exciting dive into real estate. Matthew, a real estate pro, will share valuable lessons and expert tips on navigating the real estate market with professional guests. Stay updated with the latest news and sports in Beaver County and the Pittsburgh area. Whether you're a real estate enthusiast or simply enjoy a good story, Good Talk with Matthew Modani is your source of entertaining real estate, local news, and sports. The show will also be live on our Facebook. Don't miss out.